Okay. I'm Francesco or Frank Lacapo. I'm an assistant professor of history at Southeast Missouri State University. Well, I'm originally from South Bend, Indiana. It's about an hour and a half outside of Chicago. I'm way up in northern Indiana, almost like where Indiana meets Michigan. It's where Notre Dame is, if you're familiar with that. I'm sort of one of these people who never left school. I went from high school right into my undergraduate degree. I majored in history at Ball State University in Indiana. Then I got my master's degree there, PhD at Penn State University, and then, right out of that, I got my job here at SEMO. I really like the Middle Ages. It's not technically my field, but my heart is still sort of there. And then that's why I like to teach it so much. I think the Middle Ages is cool. I also really liked Italian history because, by heritage, I'm Italian American, right? And I grew up with the language, and that helped a lot. And I switched over to looking at early modern Italian history, so basically Renaissance Italian history. And that took me really far. It took me where I am now. I'm interested in immigration into Renaissance Italy, so specifically like Jewish and Muslim immigrants in early modern Italy. To study that topic, I have to go to a lot of archives. That's what historians do. That's sort of our profession right up at this level. And so I got a Fulbright grant and a Mellon Foundation grant to spend about a year and a half in Italy. I went to the archives in the Vatican and other places in Italy to do that research. Teaching has always sort of been part of my life and my family. I've got a lot of teachers in my family. I'm actually over here. My grandfather, Paul, was a professor at Notre Dame. He was an English professor, and I would always hang out with him when I was a kid. He lived down the street from us. My grandmother was also a teacher, and she worked at universities for a while. So it's sort of always been something that I've had in the back of my head, and it was one of these things where sometimes you realize that you've always been thinking about this, and it's what you're called to do. I had just not taken it seriously until I got to college, and then I realized maybe I do want to do it. My favorite thing about teaching is seeing students develop and to see students come from a place where they're like really passionate about a topic or they're passionate about learning, and then getting to them to the point where they can actually use that knowledge and they can use what they've learned and they can, develop their own thoughts and they can articulate, what they've learned in a useful way. I like to feel like I've been useful in helping the next generation take over the world. I like working at SEMO. I liked the mission of the university, right? It's kind of like the university where I went. It's a more financially feasible option for a lot of students, and these universities are important, right? They get people really far. They serve as sort of a launching pad for you. I also am in a field where basically you go where the job is. Again, I'm glad that it ended up being SEMO. There are a lot of bad options, and SEMO's not a bad option in the job market. Yeah, my favorite thing about history in general is that it always surprises you, right? We tend to think about history in the past as dead, right? But really the fact is that we only know a very small percentage of what happened in the past, and we're discovering new things every day. The past is, gone, right? We don't experience it like we experience the present, but there's a lot of remnants of the past that are still hidden from us that we have to find. And some of them are buried in archives. Like, they're right there, they're available to us, it's just no one's really looked at them yet. We haven't looked at all the documents we have yet. We haven't looked at all the archaeological evidence we have yet. So history involves as much discovery as science. It's just in a different way.